Hey guys, Bree here from MichowaCrochet, and this week I have spent more time carrying my project and my stuff around than I actually have working on my project. So before I get into all that, this week I thought let's talk about things you can have in your crochet bag, so if you have a crazy week like mine, at least you can bring it with you even if you don't get to work on it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with a little backstory. So my husband had been having problems like with his hands, like tingling, kind of like numb, like if you fall asleep like on your hand or something. And he'd been having like pain up into like all the way up into his elbow. And then he got to the point where he was like losing like the ability to like grip things. Like he could only close his hands like so much. And it was getting kind of scary. So like my thought was, I'm like, repetitive motion injury. Because, I mean, if you're a crocheter, you've dealt with that. It's, and your hands can get really tight and stiff, and it can be hard to get the hands open and closed. Or, I was thinking, like, maybe, like, a little pinched nerve or something. Like, we weren't expecting anything, like, extremely major. Just, like, went to urgent care thinking, there was a little something they could do. He'd maybe be off a day or two from work. Back to normal life, hopefully. Well, it didn't turn out that way. So we got sent to the ER because they wanted to do further testing. Then at the ER, then he ended up getting admitted into outpatient. I don't even understand all that. And then they were talking about emergency surgery, which, to wrap up my story quick, no emergency surgery. Will need surgery in the next couple of weeks. But meanwhile, there was a lot of time just sitting and waiting for, to see doctors, or, to get news on things, or me sitting and waiting while you get tests. And I was very grateful, even though I didn't actually get to work on my project, I was grateful I had everything with me in case I wanted to. So for me, I always pretty much have my project in some kind of bag. Like, I'm not much of a, throw it in a grocery bag, or, just carry it around as is. Like, I pretty much always use some form of project bag. And my little lifeline, my little lifesaver, this little box. This box is easy. I can just take it from one project bag into another project bag, and it has all the essentials. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about the things that, I do, so that if I'm in a situation where there's a lot of downtime and it's something out of the blue, because I'm not carrying my project bag around with me at the grocery store or anything, but, doctor's appointments, whatever. So let me just show you some of the things I carry. Now, everybody has some essentials that are going to be in common, like, a needle for weaving in ends, your crochet hook, your yarn, those things, stitch markers. I also keep, not one, usually at least two. Today it's actually 3 of these little yarn guides, because I don't like the yarn digging into my finger. Also, a good one to always keep, some kind of pen, because, who doesn't need a pen? Notes at an appointment, notes to do with your project, marking off rows, whatever, you need to do. If you have a printout of your project and you need to, make some kind of notes, these are all good essentials. Also, a small set of scissors, because for me, I actually had never been to emergency room like this before, but when we got to the emergency room, they had, you had to go through a metal detector, they wanded you, they had to look through all your bags, and there's no way they would have let me in with a full-size scissors. So a small pair of scissors like these were totally fine. They had no problem me bringing these in. And these fold up too, so that you can easily put them in with your project, and they're not going to snag your project. Also, nice thing about these two, they have a little hole right there, so you could put something on them, so if you drop them, they're easier to see. Maybe you'd want to attach a keychain or a necklace, or a pom-pom, so that, if these get dropped, yours are distinct for one, and for two, they're a little easier to spot. Those are just a few things I think that are important, And like I said, this little box, not very expensive at all. And you could throw your crochet hook in there. I mean, you can see I have a few in there. I mean, you could have all sorts of things. Like I have 2 different sizes of stitch markers in here. I've got a couple different like colors of pen. I got like one purple, one black one. One's like a Sharpie style pen that's in here. These are all like very smart things to do. And that's something that even if you're somebody who doesn't put your project into an actual like project bag, like maybe you carry in a grocery bag. Like I actually like have a grocery bag sitting here with some yarn in it because that's, you know, because I hadn't put it into my project bag yet. So those are just like a few like essentials, and it's not that hard to just throw something like that together and have it for on the go. I mean, it's great for toting around your house. Like I have a little caddy I sometimes carry around. You could have a full-blown bag. You could, you know, like a big project bag. You know, it's that all that stuff is up to you. But I think it's one of those things where it's just nice to have. Another suggestion I have is sometimes, you know, you're working on something complicated, then life gets complicated, and you don't want to work on something that's complicated. You want something that's just easy peasy, like kind of mindless crocheting, something just keep your hands busy, get that nervous energy out. I think it's good to always have a project, either, you don't have to have even on the hook yet, but maybe have something in mind that's just something simple that you can work on mindlessly. Like, do you like doing granny squares? You know, it doesn't hurt to have like a project bag that you keep with just something really simple in it. It's not a project that's urgent to work on, or you have to, you know, something you don't put a lot of thought into, because that would be something you could grab just to get that nervous energy out when, you know, when life is crazy. You know, these are just a few things that I thought of. You know, you could even keep something like that, like in your car, or, you know, like if you had something like small, because depending on the type of your purse, depending on the size of your purse, something like this might even fit in your purse. And it's good to have multiple of these. Like this is just my main one. This is my go-to, but I also have extra ones around. So, I mean, I have, I think about 3 boxes like this, and they're all set up with at least the bare minimum. Stitch markers, something, you know, a needle for weaving in ends, a pair of scissors, and a yarn guide, and usually a pen. Like, because those are your essentials when you're crocheting. I mean, it's nothing to pick this up, throw it into a bag, and go. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for me this week. Tell me, what is your one essential outside of the normal realm of tools we need for crochet that you would carry in your box? Mine is my yarn guide, because to me that's essential. I don't like the yarn digging into my finger, but that's not an essential everybody would have. So what would yours be? What would your one essential be that's outside the normal realm of, you know, like hook, stitch markers, needle to weave in ends, scissors? What's the one essential that's personal to you? So tell me in the comments, and next week, make sure you tune in next week for a little bit more of a normal video from me. But until then, take care.